Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we'll be making the palazzo pant of these two-piece. In my previous video, we drafted and sewed the crop shirt. The link to that tutorial will be in the description. I'll be sharing with you guys the method I use in making a free palazzo pant, but for a more fitted pant, I already have a tutorial on my channel. The link to that tutorial will be in the description as well. So do not forget to like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel. I notice a huge number of you watch without subscribing. So please subscribe and let's get right into the tutorial. To get started, I've marked out all important lines. So this is my waistline. From there to my hip line 8 inches. From my hip line to the crotch line 10 inches. From the crotch line to the knee line is 24 inches. And then to the full length of my trouser 43 inches. These measurements include my waistband. On the hip line, I'll place my hip measurement divided by 4. My calculations will be on the screen and please follow along with your measurements. I'll place the same measurement on the waistline and connect these 2 points with a straight line. I'll extend this line to the crotch level with dotted lines. To get the front crotch extension, I will divide 1/4 of my hip measurement by 4 and this gave me 2.5 inches. So on the crotch line, I will take that measurement from the center front line. The front crotch curve is a shallow curve, so I'm going to divide these points to serve as a guide. So I'll find the midpoint between the hip level and the crotch level and have that. Then I'll find the midpoint of the 2.5 inches crotch extension, and with these points I will draw in my front crotch curve. I will connect the midpoint between the hip line and the crotch line to the last point on the crotch extension. Then I'll connect the hip line to the midpoint on the crotch extension. Just watch the way I'm connecting the points. With these lines, I will draw in my front crotch curve. On the waistline, I'll place my waist measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch dart. On the same line, I'll place my nipple to nipple measurement of 4 inches for the installation of my dart. From this 4 inches nipple to nipple measurement, I will go down 4.5 inches for my front dart length. Then still on the 4 inches point, I will take ½ inch on both sides of this point for my dart. Then I will draw in my side seam and draw in my dart legs. I'll measure what I have on the crotch line and half that into 2. I'll take this measurement all the way to the hem of our pant and connect with a straight line. This line is the grain line of our pant and it will help us to shape the leg of our pant. We are going to be centering our measurement on this line. Whatever measurement you have for the front panel of your trouser, you're going to be dividing that into 2. On the crotch line, I'll place my thigh circumference. My thigh is 25 inches and half of that is 12.5 inches, which is what my crotch line already measures. On the knee line, I'll place my knee circumference. Mine is 24 inches and half of that is 12. So I'm going to center the 12 inches on the grain line and mark 6 inches on both sides of the line. I'll place the same measurement at the hem of my pant, then I'll go ahead and connect all the points. So guys, the next thing we are going to do is to draft out our waistband. I prefer this method because this gives you a snug fit around your waistline, as the female body is full of curves, than when you cut out a long strip of fabric for your waistband. The width of my waistband is 2 inches, so you go ahead and mark yours. I'll close in the dart legs and blend in the line. You will see that when you trace out this waistband, you're not going to have a straight waistband like when you cut out a long rectangle. It's going to be slightly curved, and that's what makes the difference. Once you're done blending in the lines, you're going to trace out this waistband on a fresh paper with the dot line closed using your tracing wheel or pins like you see me doing. Then you add your seam allowance. On the center front, I'm going to mark out my zipper fly. I'll be cutting mine out together with my pant. You can decide to cut these separately if you prefer. So I'm using 1.5 inch with zipper fly, and the length from the waistband measured 7 inches. That's all I did for the front panel. I went ahead and added 2 inches hem allowance, and that's the only seam allowance I added. The rest of the seam allowance I'll be adding when I cut on my fabric. We'll be drafting the back pattern here, and I've placed the front pattern to serve as a guide. From the center front to my dot line is 4 inches. That's my nipple to nipple measurement. I'm going to have that and make a point there. I'll connect that point to the hip line and extend it upwards, and this line becomes my back center line. So guys, excuse the line I just drew now on the front pattern. I'm actually supposed to leave the front pattern and draw this line on the back pattern. So let's not get confused by this line, but you get it as we move along. On this extended line from the waistline of the front, I will place the 2 inches and make a point there. This 2 inches is half of what we got from the center front to the dot line. Mine was 4 inches and half of that is 2 inches. So you measure from your center front to the dot line. Whatever you get, you divide it into 2. That is what you're going to place on this line as your back rise. Now with my tip on that 2 inches point, or whatever you got as your back rise, I'm going to place 1/4 of my waist circumference plus 1 inch dart. You can go ahead and add 0.25 inch for ease. Then I'm going to tilt my tape till that measurement touches the waistline of the front, and I'll make a point there. For this particular pant, I'm using elastic for my back waistband. So I'm adding extra 1.5 inches to my waistline, and that's what I'll be marking here. So if you'll be using elastic on your back panel like me, just place 1/4 of your hip measurement on the waistline, or how much ease you want to add on your back waistline. Mine is 10 inches, but I removed 1 inch from mine and marked 9 inches instead. And do not forget that I use my exact waist circumference on the front panel, 7.5 inches plus 1 inch dart allowance. If you used your exact waist measurement on the back panel, once you take that measurement from your center back line, you're going to place half of your nipple to nipple measurement for your dart installation. Then on that point, you're going to mark 1/2 inch on both sides for your dart legs. Then the length of your back dart is 5.5 inches, and you go ahead and draw in your dart legs. So guys, I've taken my measurement and I've connected mine with a straight line. At the crotch line, I added 1 inch here on the pattern, but while cutting on my fabric, I added extra 1/2 inch. Then on the knee line, I added 1 inch, and at the hem as well on both sides of the pant, and I'll connect all these points with a straight line. To get the back crotch extension, I'm going to replace my front crotch extension of 2.5 inches on the back and make a point there. Then I'll add extra 1 inch. This 1 inch is standard for all sizes. So with your crotch circumference measurement, you will know whether to minus from this 1 inch or not. And this is where your crotch circumference measurement comes into play. I will connect the knee point to the 2.5 inches crotch extension with the broken lines. Then I will measure the inseam on the front pattern between the crotch line and the knee line. Mine measured 12 inches. I will minus 0.25 inch from this, and this leaves me with 11.75 inches. The reason for this subtraction is because the female body curves downwards to the back, and this will also prevent your pants from going in between your butt cheeks. Now I will measure the inseam of the broken lines and divide it by 3. Mine measured 12 inches and by 3 leaves me with 4 inches. So with my tape on the knee line at 11.75 inches, I will go up to the first 4 inches point, and from that point I will tilt my tape till it touches that extra 1 inch line that I squared down and make a point there. With the slight curve side of my ruler, I will connect these 2 points and draw in my back crotch curve. If you measure the distance between the crotch line and this line, it measures 0.5 inch. To connect the back crotch, I do it 2 ways. I either follow the crotch curve of the front, which I'll be doing in this tutorial, and draw in the back crotch, or I can go out by 1 inch on that hip line of the front and draw in the crotch. So whichever method works best for you. Now we are going to verify if what we just did correspond with our crotch circumference. My crotch circumference measured 28 inches. So I'm going to measure the crotch circumference on the front and the back pattern. On the front pattern, my crotch circumference measured 11 inches, and this includes the waistband. While on the back, it measured 17.25 inches, and this also includes the waistband. If you add this up, this leaves me with 28.25 inches, which corresponds perfectly to my crotch circumference plus ease. So if you follow this method and your crotch circumference appears to be more, which I doubt, you either take out the 1 inch or you half it till you get a crotch circumference that matches with your crotch measurement. So guys, this is all I did for the back pattern. I'll go ahead and add the 2 inches hem allowance, and the other seam allowance I'll add while cutting on the fabric. I'll go ahead and trace out the waistband as well with the darts closed and add seam allowance. I'll also trace out my pocket, which I've already drafted. The width on the waistband of the pocket is 2.5 inches, and the pocket opening I used 4.5 inches and just draw out my pocket. I'll trace all that out and cut out my pattern. I'll be using this Ankara print for this tutorial. I have made a crop shirt from this print. I used a total of 3 yards and 3/4 to make the crop shirt, and the palazzo will be sewing. I'll go ahead and cut out my pieces. Here are all my pieces. I have here the pocket and the pocket lining. I have the elastic for the back waistband. I have my back waistband and the front waistband as well. I have my zipper, then the back panel and the front panel of the trouser. So what I'm showing you here is the extra 1/2 inch I added, making my 1.5 inches as against the 1 inch we added on the pattern. I'm going to start by attaching the pocket and installing the zipper. In order not to make this tutorial too long, I'm going to leave the link on how to attach a zipper on a cut together fly in the description. I have installed the zipper. I've also attached my pocket, and this is what it's looking like. Like I earlier mentioned, I'll leave the link on how to attach a zipper on a cut together zipper fly in the description. The small remaining dart on the waistline, I just pinned it down. I will not be sewing it. Then I left this small space at the crotch about 1 inch, which we'll come back to later. I went ahead and attached the back panels, and I left this space as well at the crotch. Now we'll be assembling the front and back panels together, and we'll be starting first at the crotch. That's why I left those spaces. Now we are going to sew the inseam of the pant. We are going to match the front and back inseam all the way to the crotch. Now this is where your notches play a vital role, like making notches at the knee and at the hem. This will help you match up your inseams correctly. Once I'm done matching them up, I will take it to my machine and attach with a straight stitch. So guys, I've stitched close the inseams on both legs of the pants. Now we are going to stitch close the crotch. I will match up the inseam and run a straight stitch from the front all the way to the back. So guys, I have secured the inseam and the crotch. I'll go ahead and stitch close the side seams of the pant. So guys, I've stitched close the side seams and this trouser is gradually taking shape. The next thing we are going to do is to work on the waistband. I'm going to assemble the front waistband. The back waistband I have also ironed into two and iron in the seam allowance of the front. I'll go ahead and assemble the front waistband and I'll let you guys watch through. Remember, I used my exact waist circumference on the front, and on the back I added some inches to it. If you're someone that has an unstable waistline like mine, an elastic waistband at the back is much recommended. For me, my waistline changes between 28 inches to 32 inches. I don't know why. So to avoid tightening and loosening, I just decided to add an elastic on the back waistband. When I started making this trouser, my waistline was 30 inches. And by the time I finished sewing this trouser, it dropped to 28 inches. So I had to use belt to hold it so that it doesn't fall off. So guys, I'm done assembling the front waistband. I'll go ahead and attach it to the back to form a long strip so that we can attach it to the waistline of our trouser. I'm going to pin the lining of the waistband to the wrong side of my trouser and attach with a straight stitch. I have attached the lining of the waistband to the wrong side of my trouser. Now before I go ahead and stitch it close, I'm going to attach my elastic. Now the length of my elastic measured 14 inches and the width of the elastic is 1.5 inches. So I'm going to attach this on the seam allowance on both sides of the back panel. So guys, I have pinned the elastic in place and that's how I'm going to attach it. I will run a zigzag stitch on the elastic on both sides to secure it to the seam allowance. I have also prepared some belt loops for the trouser. These belt loops will be attached on the seam allowance of the waistband before I stitch close the waistband. The hem of the trouser that I'll be doing as well, and the buttonhole. I'm using a button as my fastener. I'll be doing all this off the camera because I know we are already conversant with these techniques, and I'll show us the final look. This brings us to the end of the tutorial. Do not forget to like and share the video. Leave all your questions in the comment. Do not forget to subscribe as well and turn on your notifications so that you get notified whenever I upload a new video. And until my next one, à bientôt!